Well, a wave of auto thefts has hit the city, with a car reported stolen every 3 hours, and even one recent theft hit close to home. Investigative reporter Kyle Hopkins, who is also my husband, has our own personal story of what it's like to have your only family car stolen and how it often takes a lot of help from strangers to get it back.
Rebecca, in a city where car thefts have skyrocketed over the past 2 years, our firsthand experience has become all too common. Our story is, of course, part of a larger trend that we're exploring in a 3-part special investigative series called Grand Theft Anchorage, which begins tonight on the NewsHour. But first, a preview, perhaps a bit of background on the both of us.
We're going to take you inside because you have to see this.
Regular viewers of KTUU have welcomed anchor Rebecca Palsha into their living room for more than 10 years.
Anchorage police are investigating the discovery of a body today.
And more recently, I joined the Channel 2 News family as an investigative reporter.
Kyle.
Yeah, Rebecca, the email came into our 2 Investigates address.
And yes, we're married, recently celebrating our 13th anniversary. We're an active 1-car, 2-kid household, seemingly always on the run, but with a routine that on a recent weekday morning was shockingly disrupted.
Looked outside and the car was gone. I was like, Kyle, where's the car? Because he had gone to the gym the night before, and I just was like, what'd you do with it?
So what'd you say to them?
I was like, Kyle, where's the car? And
Where's the car? Where's the car?
yeah.
An 8-year-old SUV, which we bought used for my mom, is in fact our only family car.
So we work at the same place, so it seems crazy to have 2 cars.
And we're pretty cheap.
And it was missing from the driveway. While we slept, thieves had been prowling the neighborhood, caught on camera by our neighbor's home surveillance system. We called police.
The police officer told us, like, the car probably is on its way to buy drugs, or it's being traded for drugs, or people are using it as like a house to do drugs in.
One APD employee told me that it was like Uber for drug dealers.
The thieves took our car, leaving our family of 4 with a bicycle they ditched in our front yard.
First, like, I was really just mad.
As career journalists, we've both reported on property crime. A lot.
And frustrated and kind of didn't know what to do.
Dozens of Anchorage cars stolen in a week. Hundreds a month. But Anchorage police tell the media they simply do not have the staff to go looking for every one. So, with the help of friends, known and unknown, it was now our turn to search for our stolen car ourselves.
Now, that story airs tonight at 6 on the NewsHour. It's a story of how Good Samaritans, total strangers who really didn't have to help us, did, and provided the leads on exactly where to look.
And we are extremely, extremely thankful for them too, Kyle.
Already this year, more than 2,000 cars have been stolen in Anchorage. That's a staggering 300% increase over the same period in 2015. A wave of property crime that city officials say is linked to the statewide opioid epidemic.
Ron copies.
And police spread thin. We quickly learned that if we wanted to get our car back, we would have to get to work ourselves.
The APD employee said on the phone we wouldn't send an officer to go look for just one car. You know, they told us they wouldn't go looking for just one car. And then she's the first one who said, you should probably put it on Facebook, you should probably talk to cab companies and just get the word out that it's stolen.
And so we did. Sure enough, later that same day, I received the first of many tips. Our car parked along Tudor Road. I headed out to check out the tip. Someone on their walk to work had seen a car that looked like the one that I posted. False alarm. By the time Rebecca anchored the news,
Lawmakers will also be taking up the issue of public safety.
But that night, a tip on our post to the Stolen Alaska Facebook group, and a photo, our car, seen minutes earlier at a Midtown parking lot. I hurried there in a borrowed car.
I'm standing exactly where our stolen 2009 Hyundai Santa Fe was as of about 2 hours ago. I arrived maybe 45 minutes too late.
The tipster who saw our car didn't want to appear on camera. This is his voice.
And the description, like the roof rack and things that you had posted onto that Stolen Alaska page, helped me like remember the image. And I pull back up the Stolen Alaska post and look at it and see that the license plate matches up.
I walked the neighborhood. Our tipster said 2 stolen cars had been parked in the same lot within a week or two. This Anchorage man was one of those theft victims.
Here's the pictures that I have.
But his truck was recovered with a bullet hole in the window and testing positive for meth. Unfortunately, our car got away.
It's just being driven around Anchorage, so wish me luck.
Not only was our family car still on the run, it was now being used in other crimes as captured on this home surveillance camera. But the next morning, 24 hours since the car was stolen, a new tip.
I just got done fishing, was driving down the road, and I happened to see the vehicle.
Ever since last August when Brian Bushell was shot by an Anchorage burglar, he's been scouring the internet.
I don't trust nobody anymore as far as I'm concerned. And I'm always looking on them pages for my shooter because he's still out there.
He too had seen our post.
The silver roof rack was definitely the giveaway for that car. And I just did what I could really to try and help you out.
Brian called police and posted this tip to Facebook.
The insurance company told me that if they don't find it, if the car isn't found within 24 to 48 hours, then it probably is not going to be found. Although they'll wait a few weeks before they kind of write it off as straight up stolen.
I arrived just as the car was leaving. I called 911 and I followed and I watched. 2 men flagged it down, opened the back hatch and loaded something into the back. That's when I parked and started snapping these pictures from about 30 yards away. The car traveled another block and stopped.
Anchorage Police Dispatch.
The 911 dispatcher told me to stay put and stay safe.
The last thing we want is a citizen to place themselves in danger to assist us.
After several minutes, police arrived, making contact with the thieves.
You know, I can tell you watching our car and waiting for police at that moment was one of the more intense experiences I've had. And then to see strangers stepping out of it, to step out of your car, surrounded by police with guns, that moment is where our story will pick up tomorrow night at 6 p.m.
Wow, Kyle, I know all of us here in the newsroom were following your Facebook detective work that weekend and quite concerned about your safety, to be quite frank about it. So, Kyle, the big question people may be asking tonight, how did they steal your car in the first place?
That is a good question. I was pretty self-righteous at first, thinking there's no way I left it unlocked. I never leave it unlocked. But I probably left it unlocked. I think the lesson for me was that there's no room for error. I think, I came home from the gym one night, probably didn't hit the thing on the fob and left it open, or unlocked anyway. We still aren't quite sure how they started it. That's a little bit of a mystery still. I think, I don't know if it was a used car, maybe there was an extra key stashed in it we didn't know about. Maybe that part I actually don't really understand how that happened.
For more than 30 hours, I'd been desperately searching for my family car. Following every possible lead I received from online forums like Stolen in Alaska and Scanner Joe. I was driving around town in a borrowed car, my family's concern growing.
Then it got spooky, because then Kyle's, the whole time we kind of talked to each other in text and stuff, and we don't go long, naturally without talking to each other for very long, and he, went for 2 hours without speaking to me.
And finally, a real-time tip led me to Midtown, where I witnessed the car being driven out of a fast food parking lot by total strangers. I followed right behind it, even taking pictures when the car stopped. Unknown items being loaded into the hatchback.
Anchorage Police Dispatch.
I told the 911 operator my specific location.
The police just arrived and have surrounded the car with guns drawn, and they have some guys on their knees.
Swarming the car and removing the occupants.
I was at a kid's birthday party with my sister-in-law, Kyle's sister, and she and I kept getting Facebook alerts, and we're like, I think he found the car. And then I was like, that's my car right there.
Did you have another one stolen?
It's full of stuff. There's just a bunch of stuff that, you have to assume is stolen goods.
The purpose of the arraignment is to notify you of whatever charges have brought you into custody.
The driver turned out to be 20-year-old Alexis Stewart. No criminal record. Now charged with drug possession and vehicle theft.
Bail had previously been set at $1,000 cash or corporate. Does anyone wish to be heard on that?
But under the 2016 crime bill known as Senate Bill 91, Stewart won't face any upfront jail time. If convicted, any time behind bars would likely be suspended. A reality that's made the law among the most controversial in recent history.
I kind of felt bad and angry at the same time.
Anything else happen? Did you guys go anywhere?
As for the other occupants in the car, no arrests, no citations. Seemingly free to leave after a few questions from police. Before leaving on foot, one of the men even tried to take my headphones with him. A search of court records shows he does have a record for assault, trespassing, violating a restraining order, all taking place over the past 2 years.
The next step is at some point they'll take my car off of stolen status, and all that stuff that's in the back, they'll determine what's mine and what's not.
Like these cookies, this peanut butter, not mine. Neither are all these needles. bolt cutters, a credit card and ID belonging to my neighbor who was burglarized the same night, and even a face mask. A full 36 hours after it went missing, we finally had our car back. The first stop, the car wash, and we were back to our family routine by Monday morning. But the last 48 hours wouldn't soon be forgotten.
Some of my things got stolen because they were in the car.
Like what?
A pencil that had paw prints on it, and a lot of my toys.
Poppy, do you still want to punch the person who broke into the car?
Yes.
Poppy's the enforcer of the house, and so she was like, if I find whoever stole that car, I will punch them in the face.
But we don't punch people.
Ours was just one story, one of 60 vehicles reported stolen in Anchorage that week alone. It was also a lesson in how during the current car theft epidemic, a community can come together to crack a case.
Really went out of their way for us, and I loved kind of the idea of everyone sticking together and we're all in this, we're gonna fix this whole thing together.
Our family is grateful for the police officers who answered our 911 call and ultimately made an arrest. They collected all the evidence and handed us our keys back right then and there. It was a good outcome in our case, and police say that more than 90% of the vehicles that are stolen are later recovered. Also, as you saw, all the passengers were let go that day when our car was found. But if it had happened today, that would not have been the case. The Anchorage Assembly last night voted to make it easier for prosecutors to charge people under a law that says it's illegal to ride in a stolen car.
So Kyle, in this case, Good Samaritans helped you find the car. You followed the perpetrators. So, okay, now what did police say about the dangers of getting involved?
Well, I guess I went right up to the line. That's something that Channel 2 News has been covering at length in recent months. It's a topic of conversation for sure, both with APD and crime victims who really want to do whatever they can to fight back, to get their things back during this epidemic in our city. But where is the line? How far can you go? That's what we'll be examining in part 3 of our series tomorrow at 6, when several other victims will share their stories.
I think Alice and Poppy ought to go for restitution.
Yeah.
Open that door! Do it now!
Break-ins, burglaries, the kinds of crimes that rarely make headlines, but hammer every neighborhood in the city.
At any one time, we generally have about 100 vehicle theft prosecutions that are pending.
Now, connected by grassroots Facebook groups, some Anchorage residents are taking to the streets to get their property back.
We got to take responsibility, to step up. I think as a community and as for people, I think we should actually get involved.
With the advent of social media, the public has become a very vital tool.
But the trend raises questions about vigilantism. How far can you go to get back what's yours?
And I'll knock him in the face, it felt so good.
Or to help a stranger.
How many cars do you think you personally located?
Sunday we recovered 4, just the group ourselves. Myself personally, in the last year, probably 20, 25.
We want everyone to remain safe, and we would ask individuals to just be a good witness. Don't put yourself in harm's way.
But Floyd Hall is now fighting a reckless driving charge after police say he sped and drove the wrong way while chasing a stolen truck. Prosecutors tell Channel 2 you can't use deadly force in Alaska to stop a car thief unless your safety is in danger.
You can't use deadly force if people are trying to steal your car in your driveway because that's just property and that's not a burglary.
But where is the line?
A person's actions would have to be reasonable under the circumstances, and all of those things are evaluated on a case-by-case basis.
Cases like Olin Henry, who recently spotted someone rifling through his father's Chevy Impala.
So you see he's in the front seat. He actually popped the hood right here. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, this is my friend's car. He told me to find something. And I said, bull. I'm telling you, finally to catch one of these guys.
He did more than watch. When Daniel Smith found his car window smashed and his iPhone missing, he used an app to hunt it down across town.
I started getting closer and closer to the GPS location on my phone, showed the policeman exactly, so it's right here.
In fact, police found 2 stolen motorcycles at the same address. And when someone cut the fence at Signco and stole owner Dave Mabius' special edition Silverado,
and that's about a $70,000 pickup.
He sought help from APD, but also the hive mind of social media.
Calling the police it's just another vehicle that's stolen to them.
You weren't armed before, and now you're
And now
armed.
I am, yeah.
Because this experience.
Because of this experience.
Victims like Mabius and Olin Henry think the laws are too soft.
They knew that they were going to be facing, 10 years in jail for doing something like that. They probably wouldn't risk it.